Okay, windows into heaven. Um, we call them. This is about icons. We call them windows into heaven. They decorate the inside of our. Actually, we don't have churches. Technically, they're temples. But I wanted to show you this one particularly. It's an important one because it's the saints of the United States, or the saints of North America, and most of them are in the United States. That's probably because Alaska is used to be part of Russia, and that was the first place of enlightenment in America for Orthodoxy. And then many of them came later, particularly one John of Chicago, who built a cathedral down here in Chicago, and then went over to Russia and was martyred by the Soviets. I also picked this one because somebody had messaged me asking me, "Did you read a book by John Maximovich?" Um, yeah, I actually hadn't read that book, but this icon has John Maximovich in it. We call him St. John the Wonder Worker of Shanghai and San Francisco. It's kind of a cool name, the Wonder Worker of Shanghai, because he served in Shanghai. China had been Orthodox for a while. It's one of the few places that has it's autonomous, and I believe it's also autocephalous too. And this is it, the window into heaven. This guy right here that I have my finger on, that's John the Wonder Worker of Shanghai. And if you look down here, this is John of Chicago getting ready to get martyred by the Soviets. And I've had people, particularly people in my family, remark, well, it's not good artwork, blah, blah, this and that. And the funny thing is that when an Orthodox goes into, let's say, the Sistine Chapel, he looks up and the pictures are too noisy. These are not artwork, these are icons. They're meant to be meditative. That's why you don't see any of the mouths open on anybody. They're particularly their eyes are bigger, their mouths are always shut. This right here is Peter the Aleut. He was a Native American that got tortured to death because he wouldn't reject Orthodoxy for Roman Catholicism by the Spanish. And as you see, a lot of it's around water, because that's Alaska. See a landing, and it's actually kind of funny up here. Where is it? There's one where there's a totem pole on it. Right here, you can see. I don't know if you can see that. It's about to get killed by the native Indians, and right over here, it's a totem pole. So it's kind of, this one's kind of strange. I like this one, but it's not meant to be. You're not meant to. It's not meant to be great Renaissance artwork. Renaissance artwork, I've always thought it was very gaudy. Maybe that's why I like icons so much. But they're not meditative, especially a lot of these Roman Catholic cathedrals and stuff. Especially in Italy, like you look at the inside of them, and it's very noisy. There's this. I mean, it's not very meditative. But when you have icon like this, it truly is a window into heaven. And Orthodox don't have statues considered graven images. These icons are made for meditative reasons and for reverence. No, we absolutely do not worship these. If you wind up worshiping one of these, you've gone into idolatry. And people always say, well, isn't that against the Old Testament? Well, if you remember, Moses, after he received the Ten Commandments, crafted a bronze serpent and told everybody to look upon it, and that they'd be healed, and they did. And then later on, they started worshiping the bronze serpent, so it was destroyed. So you can see how an image can go from an icon to an idol. Not only that, but the Ark of the Covenant was decorated with cherubim, which were these creatures with the head of a man, sometimes the body of a lion or an ox, and the wings of an eagle, almost like a sphinx. In the inside of the temple, the curtain that you would actually see separating the holy from the holiest of holies was adorned with different animals and cherubim and the like. So images, not even in hardcore Old Testament Judaism were ever banned. And icons, it's absolutely forbidden to show the Father, especially as some old man with a beard. And if you ever, as the Orthodox, if we ever come across icons like that, because I've seen them, we're supposed to destroy them. The the use of icons, I've very, very helpful. It's a focal point, meditation and prayer, and it's how can I put this? It's a discipline. It helps pull you back. You know, surrounding yourself with these pictures, it's like surrounding yourself with relatives. I mean, if you saw a picture of your grandma that had just passed away, you're not gonna. It attaches you to a certain emotion, or a picture of your child makes you happy. You're less likely to do, sit in that room, get high, watch pornography, because there is a real presence there. It makes you feel a presence. It's actually very real whenever you remember anybody, they're with you, and this is how we react to the saints as well. So anybody who claims this is an idol, I would ask them, what about the bronze serpent? What about the Ark of the Covenant? If you went back into ancient times and you saw the children of Israel worshiping God, you can't see the Holy Spirit residing between the cherubim and the mercy seat. You would assume they're worshiping the Ark of the Covenant. It totally looks like they're sprinkling blood on it, bowing down before it, and all of Israel goes to visit the temple, and inside of it, it holds the Ark of the Covenant. So that's their idol, that's their God, and they treated it almost like well, actually with more reverence than the pagans treated their idols. You weren't allowed to touch it. If you touch it, you died. In some instances, you weren't. It was separated from all that was profane, so you weren't allowed to do many things around it. And people would be appalled if any harm came to it, and they probably would have doubted that any harm could come to it, because their God protected it. Now there's a point when God withdrew His protection from that, of course. But I think the idea of the accusations that people make, oh, it's idolatry, then your Moses is an idolater. Your King David and all these people are absolute idolaters. So it's me letting you share a little bit of my faith with you. And besides that, I think they're beautiful in a very quiet, peaceful way. That is my video on the windows into heaven.